All right, presentation mode. Here we go. We've got that one. All right, now we go to our very, very high-tech door prize draw. We have the finest of technology here, and I will let you know that everybody that's registered is in this particular container, and we're going to go with our first door prize right now, and I will not peek, and board members are not eligible. So our first winner is, let's see if we can do this, is Liliani Viari. And Liliani. And the prize is $100, $150 gift certificate from Sinclair Dental that you can use just by taking it to the dealership and using it for dental materials or whatever else that you may choose. So let's move ahead then. We're going to look at the year in review, and I think one of the things that we need to address is the fact that we shared with you last year's AGM our strategic plan. And in that strategic plan, we identified our vision, the highest quality oral health care for Canadians of all ages living with disabilities, our mission, as you can all read as well as I can, and certainly the objectives that we have been trying to work towards. What we're going to do now is we're going to hear from some of our board members and chairpersons with regard to what the CSDH has been involved in currently. And we're first going to turn it over to Joan Rush with a discussion about the National Dental Plan, advocacy and outcomes. Go ahead, Joan, please.
Hello again, everyone. Thanks very much. That was a fabulous presentation, I have to say, that Carlos just gave us. So it's quite an easy introduction then for my presentation, which is about the Canadian Federal Dental Plan. I'm sure most of you know it came into force for children under 12 on November the 17th. The interim benefit starts for children under 12 immediately, but will include persons with disabilities beginning in 2023. Now, the Federal Dental Plan is a major step forward for Canada, but that interim benefit is insufficient to meet the needs of Canadians with disabilities. So we must advocate for a dental plan that will meet the needs of every Canadian who lives with a disability. And to go off my script for 1 second, Carlos talked about the difference between a program and a plan. And I believe what we are focused on is creating a proper dental care program. And we believe it would have to include the following things: that the plan should focus on achieving and maintaining overall health, including oral health, and have a seamless relationship with our medical healthcare system. The dental plan must enable practitioners to assess functional oral health, to diagnose necessary treatment, and to provide or refer for prompt treatment to achieve and maintain the patient's optimal oral health. Secondly, the oral health treatment must be evidence-informed and tailored to meet the oral health needs of individual patients. Patients with a disability should have a dental home to ensure continuity of care and oversight of specialized treatments. Third, the dental plan must incorporate time-based remuneration to enable practitioners to treat patients with differing functional needs and abilities. Fourth, the plan must enable patients to access a full spectrum of care, including desensitization programs and all levels of sedation, including general anesthesia where necessary, to meet that individual patient's needs. Finally, we agree that Canadian dental education must incorporate special needs oral health education from undergraduate through specialist programs. The dental plan should incorporate continuing provider education and patient outreach education to incorporate the best oral health practices into the disability community. Now, Canadian Society for Disability and Oral Health has formed alliances with other organizations to jointly advocate for the best possible dental plan to meet the needs of Canadians with disabilities. So we're very grateful that our organizational allies include About Face, the Alliance for a Cavity-Free Future, the Autism Alliance, the Canadian Association for Public Health Dentistry, the Canadian Council for Public Health in the 21st Century, the Coalition for Dental Care, the Council for Canadians with Disabilities, the Indigenous Dental Association of Canada, the International Association for Disability and Oral Health, and Special Olympics Canada. We are proud of our association with these organizations. We look forward to working with them and with all of you to create our vision of optimal oral health for every Canadian with a disability. We encourage you to send us your ideas and recommendations for a Canadian dental program that ensures every Canadian can aspire to having optimal oral health. We hope to hear from you. Thank you.
If I may, for one moment, thank you, Joan. I do want to point out, if you look at the slides in the upper right-hand corner, you will see how the presentations themselves link to our strategic plan. We're not just doing things to do them. It's a way of trying to achieve our objectives. So I will pass it on now to Dr. Khan.
Thank you, Dr. Pulaski. Thank you, John. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share with you what the CSDH has been doing on your behalf with the associations for the Canadian faculties of dentistry. For the non-academics in the room today, the ACFD is an organization that is an that combines each of the 10 dental schools in Canada and is responsible for coming up with competencies for curricula on which the dental schools base their education. And Dr. Platska and I were fortunate to be invited as CSDH representatives to participate in the ACFD at Edmonton. And as you can see there, I want to really acknowledge Dr. Cecilia Dong here, who's here with us today, one of our members, who's worked with me and Dr. Denise Fox from the IADH to come up with a paper that mapped the ACFD competencies to the IADH curriculum. Dr. Plotsky and I were able to circulate a brief condensed version, a one-page condensed version of this amongst the faculties at the ACFD. And we were also able to reach out post-ACFD to the deans of several dental schools. And we hope to keep you updated because as it was mentioned in the lecture today in the keynote, and as will be mentioned by several others later on, we hope that education in special care dentistry is integrated into every dental curriculum in Canada. So that was our presence at the ACFD. Back to you, Dr. Plotsky.
Thank you very much. I just want to briefly comment on the IDH conference that Dr. Friedman and I attended in Paris. It was probably one of the most stimulating things that I've ever actually took part in, from the executive team, from the leadership team, from the people that were there. On the slide, you'll see a gentleman, Philippe Aubert, who has severe cerebral palsy. He's nonverbal, but he's an incredible advocate. He's written books on the topic. And you can even see that we participated in. The networking was amazing. The information was amazing. I came away from that with a fresh sense of what it is that we can accomplish when we're part of a bigger family. Because of your support, you being the membership, the CSDH was permitted to have 2 counselors sitting at the table with full voting rights on policy for the IDH. Some of the connections we made, which we will likely look at in a forward-facing motion, was with a group from Ireland and from Scandinavia, and we hope to continue strong communications with them. I personally had the privilege of presenting an abstract on behalf of Dr. Khani, which he just referred to. The official title was The Intersection of the IDH Undergraduate Curriculum in Special Care Dentistry and the Association of Canadian Faculties of Dentistry Competencies Frameworks. Some of the highlights for me personally were the camaraderie that I felt when I was there, the absolute instant welcoming of our society there. It was the first time that the IDH had met in 4 years. And it was so refreshing to see how our very new, young society was welcomed with open arms in the global community. And certainly in every room you walk into, when people are discussing things relative to how we can help out people with disabilities with regard to oral care, the feeling in the room was totally positive. As you can see in the bottom corner, our own Liz Morch gave a presentation as well. Our society had more presentations and posters than any other global or any other component society. One of the things that we do need to point out that I'm personally very proud of, this year was the first time the IDH offered fellowships. And again, our Canadian recipients were Dr. Clive Friedman, Dr. Sharat Pani, and Dr. Timothy Ari. And again, Canada received more fellowships than any other component society. So all that to say, all of you who are Class A members are automatically members of the IDH. If you need to access anything, you will probably need to contact them directly through their membership committee, and they will provide you with an access number so that you can go to their website and participate in all of the member benefits that are available to you. So with that, I think we'll move on to the next report, please. This was something really quite unique. Both Dr. Friedman and I were invited as VIP guests of Dr. Alan Wong, president of the ADMD. Unfortunately, Dr. Friedman was not able to attend. And again, the networking, the connections made were amazing. I had met people that I previously had only seen in webinars and presentations, in discussions. And to some degrees, these are the icons, these are the champions of helping out, or as Dr. Quinona said, dealing with the tasks to serve the people that we were meant to. Up in the upper right-hand corner, I have to say, when I arrived, someone called out my name, and it happened to be Steve Perlman, who many of you know helped start the Special Olympics. It was the first time in history that the president of the American Academy of Medicine and the American Academy of Dentistry were on the same discussion table. We have other support people such as Barbie Bartanian in the lower right-hand corner, a major advocate for people with intellectual developmental disabilities. Another gentleman where you see the number 20 is Jacob Dent. You write down one name, write down Jacob Dent, D-E-N-T. You may actually see some of his postings on our CSDH Facebook page. This is an incredible human who, as a general dentist, all he does is deal with people with developmental disabilities and other forms of disability. So all that to say, it really was quite amazing. And what we've discovered is the US is moving ahead. They're doing some great things in different jurisdictions. They're doing some great things with dental education. For those of you who haven't had the opportunity, you may want to check out Penn University. We do send out announcements of webinars they do. They are all free to you. You can get an account to access back editions of webinars, again, all free to you. This is all work that these people do because they, quite honestly, they love doing it. And I'll say one minor political comment. In both meetings, both the IDH and the AADMD, the one thing that no one ever talked about was how much your bottom line can be improved, how much we can maximize your portfolio, nothing having to do with money. It had to do with caring of people that we were tasked to look after. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Shauna and her report on the student chapter influence.
Thank you, Olaf. So I will be just providing a brief overview on our student chapters and before introducing you to one of our student chapter leaders. So the mission of the student chapters are to really help to promote and fulfill the mission of the CSDH. And its mandate is to build a network across Canada of oral health student advocates, and as well as to promote and support the development and in fact improvement of special care dentistry curriculum. And that would include advocating for faculty champions within the respective schools. And lastly, to provide a student perspective on ways to increase and improve special care dentistry knowledge and skill. So I've taken the liberty of mapping out our 8 student chapters, and we are proud to say that we are definitely coast to coast. But if we are really thinking about our programs, including dentistry, dental hygiene, dental therapy, and dental assisting, we definitely have some schools and programs that are missing. So if there's any takeaway from this section of the presentation, if you or someone you know is involved with a program that you're not seeing highlighted here on the map, nudge, nudge. So either consider getting involved yourself or speaking to people that may be willing and interested. Okay, so I am going to introduce our student chapter lead from Dalhousie University, Miss Ashley Fletcher. And we are very proud to have Ashley introduce and present today some of the work that we've been doing at Dalhousie. And I think if Ashley's enthusiasm, passion, and involvement, and I would, it also include any of the students who have decided to join us here today by taking your Saturdays, I think I'm very encouraged about the future of oral health. So we'll take it away, Ashley.
Thank you, Shauna. So I'd like to start by introducing our chapter at Dalhousie briefly. We began our chapter in the fall of 2021, where we started with 2 main roles, myself as the senior president and then a junior president. And then anyone else who was participants in our chapter were members. With COVID affecting many in-person gatherings, we were limited to what we could do. However, we did have some meetings where we brainstormed ideas of what we would like to do with our chapter to have an impact within our school and also within our communities. So some ideas we had were to hold fundraisers to raise awareness of our chapter and also provide us with some financial flexibility to hold events in the future. We also our members in our chapter participated in the virtual Special Olympics that were held for information sessions, and future participation in Special Olympic events is also one key area that we are working with. And we are currently also creating a video of what to expect of the dentists. So in the spring, we decided we needed to expand and develop to have more roles within our chapter. So we're still trying to recruit some dental hygiene students. However, we successfully expanded to have a fundraising rep, a treasurer, a community outreach rep, and a liaison between our chapter and student society. Sorry, the slides are a little bit, so just move ahead now.
Thank you.
Sorry. So with the goal of creating a video in mind, we needed to raise the funds to do so. So we had a very successful fundraiser last spring, and where we first didn't know how successful it would be, we started with one 50-50 draw. However, we had a whole lot of response with this, and we were able to successfully sell 5 rounds of this fundraiser. We also applied for external grants, and we received the Canadian Pediatric Society Oral Health Outreach Grant, as well as support from our faculty dean and our student society. So from all of our fundraising efforts, we decided that we needed the role of a treasurer in our chapter, and we are hoping to get a bank account sorted out soon to hopefully have some continuation with funds for our student chapter moving forward. And finally, now that we've been able to hold some in-person events, we were able to participate in the Special Olympics screening event that happened a few weeks ago now. And some members were also able to go to Antigonish for the summer games and screen athletes for their oral health status there. All the members that participated in that event over the summer said they had the most amazing time and couldn't stop smiling the whole time they were volunteering. So it was a great event for us to participate in. But at the end of October here, we had a screening event where we applied fluoride varnish to all the athletes that came over to the school for the screening event. And we also provided contact information for the athletes who did not currently have a dental home to get them set up with a dentist that would treat them. And then in the waiting room, as they were waiting to be screened, we had different oral health education games for them to participate in, as well as brushing and flossing demos. And then today, so next slide, today we had our big project. So I just got back from that, where we filmed a video that was titled My Trip to the Dentist. And so we have our group of students that successfully participated in this event today. And our target audience for the video is children and youth with and without disabilities, with the goal to help desensitize the dental experience through visual presentation of events to expect when you go to the dentist. We hope that this will help prepare individuals who may be anxious or fearful of the dental experience and those who may be uncertain about the noises surrounding a typical dental visit. So when we are done the video today, we hope to share it broadly with everybody at CSDH, as well as within different dental associations and societies for those with disabilities. And next slide. So then moving forward, we are hoping to continue to expand and grow our student chapter. I feel really confident that we will have success with our video promotion, and we are excited for new initiatives to continue to move forward. My goal this winter is to get some more ideas rolling for some new initiatives so that when I graduate in the spring, the chapter will continue to move on. And that's all from me. Thank you for giving me a chance to present our student chapter with you.
Great, you know what, I'm just going to go back there for a moment before I get to the slide that I created. I just really did want to pause for a moment and just reflect on the significance of everything that we've heard so far. And in particular, what I was struck with was just the fact that I don't remember exactly the date that CSDH came into being, but it was like November of 2019, so 3 years ago. And in that 3-year time period, we now are kind of recognized on an international basis. We've got the seat at the table with regard to, you know, the Canadian dental plan, and we're having an influence there. I mean, to me, that is absolutely just phenomenal that we've been able to achieve so much in such a short period of time. And then to hear what the student chapter is doing and the enthusiasm they have, and they're creating resources. They're, you know, we talked about the lack of, you know, formal education at the dental schools, and they're filling the gap with the work that they're doing. So I echo Shauna's comments about, you know, I'm very optimistic about the future of oral health care in Canada with these enthusiastic students. And I hope that, you know, those of you who are in other parts of Canada are doing equally as wonderful work or are inspired by what these students are doing. So it's just, I'm so impressed, so impressed. All right, so on with my little bit of this. So one of the strategic goals that we have is, among everything else, was just to ensure the sustainability of CSDH. And so some of this may not be as, you know, outwardly as exciting as some of the other work that we do, but it is absolutely critical for our future to get some of these things in place. And so last year at the AGM, we approved a set of bylaws, and we've spent the last year or the last several months actually working on a policy and procedure manual so that, you know, future directors of the board will have that as kind of their instruction manual on how things run. So that's critically important. We do largely have cross-Canada representation on our board of directors. We did lose Chantal last year. She had many other things that she was doing, some professional, some personal. And so she resigned her position on the board. So we are now missing someone from Quebec, but hopefully we would be able to fill that gap at some point in the not too distant future. Again, we've grown from like 3 members when we started to over 250 members. And again, covering multiple oral healthcare disciplines and other professions. Again, we would love to see, more diversity among our membership. And about 60% of those are students. I know last year we didn't have a lot of graduating students that converted to Class A. And so that is an area of focus that we need to look into. And so, because we certainly would like to see more of them become Class A members. The other couple of things that I just wanted to touch on, as we pointed out that, we are filling the gap with education programs. So in addition to forwarding you information from Penn State and also from the AADMD, both of them are very active in presenting or producing webinars that you can participate, and that we forward all of those on. So hopefully you've taken advantage of some of those, but we've also created some original material, and we developed and delivered one Core 1 CE credit program this year too. And that is an ongoing goal to do more of that every year. And we do have one critical gap on our committees that Olaf will talk about in a moment that should help us to do that. So that's me, and I'm passing it back to our treasurer.
Now there's a surprise. Anyway, I am the interim treasurer at the moment. What I want to point out in summary fashion, there's no point going in detail because it will be provided in our annual general report that you will all receive likely early in the new year. Our financial position from last October to this one, as you can see, we've gone up almost $5,000. Most of that is with membership dues. We've had some donations, but we realistically cannot count on donations on a regular basis. And in that regard, our position is actually quite good. But from the standpoint of expenses, up to this point, we've just been spending it on basically housekeeping expenses such as accounting, such as PayPal, such as GoDaddy, and all of the things that allow us to connect with you. Going forward, there are some larger items that I think we need to look at, which I'm going to explain in the next section. So that in any event, we're going to keep moving forward. We're counting on your memberships. We're counting on your support. We're counting on your voices to share this information with other people. And hopefully we'll see things increase even more so in the coming year. All right, so let's move into this. They are numbered, but they're not necessarily in the number. Well, I'm just want to address these with you or to you and see where we go and give you an idea where I feel are the priorities currently in my role in the coming year. So the first one, continue providing input to the national plan. This whole thing, as you've heard from Dr. Quinones and from Joan, is such a complex, it's convoluted. There's so many stakeholders. We have this initial part where funds are being sent to hopefully get it's looked at, but the plan itself needs further input, as Joan has pointed out. And we are going to continue to provide that. We're hoping our voice gets heard. And sometimes my feeling is if it isn't heard, maybe we just need to speak a little louder and to make sure that we're fulfilling our role and to make sure that people with disabilities get looked after the way we have been tasked. So next we have oral health curriculum development. Of course, with what Dr. Pani has pointed out and with what we are attempting to do, not just to dental schools, but with all oral healthcare provider education facilities, is to continue to lobby for curriculum changes, curriculum development. And these changes need to start what I call at the grassroots. It has to start with the students. They need to see at the beginning of their education of not just what I would call the regular people that allow you to learn your techniques, but that there's 20% of the Canadian population that does not have adequate access to dental care, oral health care, that also need to be looked at. At the same time, when we gave our presentation to the Academic Affairs Committee of the ACFD, the point was made, you can't have students learn something if you don't have the educators. We have to have appropriately trained educators get involved in this system so these students can start to learn. Next, please. Do more to create awareness. So at the present time, we do have some social media platforms. They're what I would call adequate, including our website. And at the moment, apart from president and treasurer, I happen to be the webmaster, and I know extremely little about IT and web development. So I have to believe there is someone out there that knows a whole lot more than me, that is decidedly younger than I am, that can help out to try and improve our social media platforms to where they are more user-friendly, they're more informative, they would have access for people with disabilities so they could also participate in accessing these platforms. The information will drive membership, and membership will drive sustainability of our organization. And at the same time, with sustainability, we're going to get credibility on ongoing fashion. So we need to hear from you. And as I put it out, one last little thing, we'll get to that. We have so many different ways that we can communicate, but in a joking fashion, I said, you can text me, you can call me, you can email me, or if you happen to be an ornithologist, you can send me information by carrier pigeon, because that's the way we used to do it. All right. Fill membership and education committees. Again, these are two vital positions that we need to fill. With membership comes, of course, for people that are dues paying members, funds that will allow us to continue our work, but certainly with student membership, we're looking at the future. With student membership, we're looking at people learning again at the beginning of their careers in the education of oral health care. But again, with membership comes sustainability. And without that, again, as I mentioned, there is no CSDH. Education, certainly it provides credibility, both internally and externally when folks can see the kind of information that we are providing, the kind of information you can share, the kind of information you can access, the kind of information you can use to become the clinicians that we know we all would like to be. And finally, yes, this one. As co-founder of the CSDH, as Barbara pointed out in late 2019 and early 2020, I've also been president for 3 years in a row. The bylaws point out this is supposed to be a one-year term. And in that regard, I think it's time for someone to take over the leadership of this organization. It's time that we need to look for your support, that someone taking over is ready to take over the leadership, as I mentioned. And with this change in leadership, our strategic plan, which continues to evolve, it will also permit the executive to evolve, and the two will feed into each other so that the organization itself can continue to meet its objectives in a go-forward fashion. So that's my little perspective for the future, and let's see where it takes us. All right, again, our very highly technological fashion as far as door prizes. As I mentioned, $150 gift certificate. We're going to draw 2 prizes this time. First one is, let me see that. Cecilia Dong. It's a prize.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Let's get this rolling here. And Sylvie Martel. Is Sylvie still here? Has Sylvie?
Yes, yes, I am. Thank you, Olaf.
My pleasure. All right, let's move ahead, please. Okay, we've got our final actual vote that has to take place is board ratification, and our bylaws require that the membership of ratify the current slate of directors. And so if we can put the list up for everyone to have a look at, I will turn it over to Dr. Paul Romanson to deal with this.
Thank you, Olaf. And thank everyone for being here. It's really exciting to see everybody before the meeting started and to meet some new folks. That is very, very nice. Thank you for coming and joining this wonderful organization. Now to move on for the next year, we do have to have a motion to ratify our 2023 directors. That's how our bylaws are set up. And as we're going to ask the Class A members to vote. And so I would move that the following slate of people be ratified as the 2023 Board of Directors. And that is President Dr. Olaf Plotska, Secretary Ms. Carol Yakowicz, Advocacy Chair, excuse me, I'm going to have to do my vote so I can see what I'm reading. Ms. Joan Rush, Scientific Chair, Dr. Sharat Pani, Member at Large, Dr. Clive Friedman, Member at Large, Dr. Paul Romanson, Member at Large, Ms. Shona Hatchie, Member at Large, Dr. Sherry McKinstry, and Member at Large, Ms. Elizabeth Morch. And do I have a seconder?
I second it.
Thank you so much. And so everybody, please do your voting and we will see the results of this ratification.
Mm.
100%, so we're good. The new board for 2023 has been duly ratified and we can move on. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating. And now we're just talking about in-person meetings. And I must say that it is so rewarding to get back into in-person society meetings and study clubs and whatever, but please vote on this poll to give us your opinion on these 3 items so we can go forward with planning an in-person meeting for the Canadian Society of Disability and Oral Health. I think it'll be so exciting to be able to get together. So please vote now.
Just on this one, this isn't a bylaw issue, so all the students may vote as well. This one is open to everyone.
Thank you, Barbara.
You're welcome, Paul. So is that one going to come up on the screen? Are people still voting? There we go.
Cool.
Excellent. All right.
Perfect.
Yep, we'll certainly take all of that information into consideration.
Well, thank you, everybody.
All right, we have one final draw today. Or no, I don't. No, we have, there's a couple more coming after this, but the other thing that we do at the AGM, we do try to encourage people to renew their memberships early. And so for those people who did renew before today, their names go into a draw to win their membership for free. And I think slightly less than half of our Class A members have renewed so far. So your odds of winning are pretty darn good. And yeah, I have a pretty pink and white polka dot bucket. And the lucky winner is, where's my camera? Tanya Escoffery. Congratulations, Tanya.
Thank you.
So our treasurer will arrange to return your money to you.
Who might that be?
All right. Next, I've been so looking forward to this part of the program. It's time to play some trivia. This will take like 7 minutes, probably not too much more than that. So if you've got your pen and paper handy, we are going to go ahead with it. And I will explain it on the next slide. So I'm going to show you 11 pictures. None of them are specifically about oral health, but they all have something in common with oral health. And your task is to figure out not only what the pictures are, but then you also have to identify the theme. And if you figure out the theme before you get to the end, it might help you go back and figure out what some of the pictures are. So if you're ready, I will put up the first 3 pictures. Some of them are more obvious than others, but here are the first 3. I think and we can go back and relook at some, but I'm going to move forward. I'm using Shauna as my guide. She's the only person I can see on my screen. So when it looks like Shauna's done, and I'm moving on. Oh, on number 8, we're asking for where the blue arrow is. Um, 3 more. And then if you want me to go back, I can go back and we can look at a couple, relook at some of them. All right. Does anybody want to go back and look at any of the previous slides? You'll have to turn on your mics and shout it out. I will take that as a no, that you have all of them correctly identified. So what was the theme? Anybody figure out what the theme is?
Oral.
Oral, absolutely. So what have we got? What was the first one?
Coral.
Yep. What's the second one? Anybody know what the second one is?
Federal. No, I mean, like, no.
It is the US
Electoral.
map of electoral colleges.
Nice.
Third one,
Floral.
floral arrangement or floral bouquet. Anybody? So the one with the sheep is pastoral. That was a new word for me. I'd heard it, but didn't know what it meant. The little cartoon character. Anybody know who she is?
Coral. Cora.
Coraline. Third one,
Corporal,
Corporal.
Balmoral,
Balmoral Castle.
femoral,
Femoral artery.
pectoral.
Pectoral.
That's not me in that picture, okay? I just want,
Yeah.
it's not me.
This one was a little trickier. The last two are a little tricky. Anybody?
Ooh, behavioral.
He's a, yeah, B.F. Skinner is a behavioral scientist, and I had the clue you had to use the American
Yeah.
spelling on that one. It wouldn't have worked if you'd used Canadian spelling. And the last one, this was a tricky one too.
Is that Oral Roberts?
Oh, that would have been a very good one, but you're on the right track. It is Jerry Falwell, who was the founder of the moral majority. So he was a moralist. He was probably immoral, but yeah.
Well
Anyway,
done, Barbara.
there you go. All right. Two more.
Awesome.
Thank you.
That was great work. Somebody went to a lot of trouble to put that together. That was you, Barb. That was amazing.
I have fun doing that. There's nothing more I love than a good puzzle.
Hi, Cynthia.
Hi.
Okay, so we have 2 more door prizes. All right, everybody keep their fingers crossed.
I really want some dental equipment. Please, please pick my name.
Anissa Gamble, are you still there, Anissa? Do we know?
We'll assume she is. We will
Well,
let
she's-
her know later.
Yeah, we met her right at the beginning. She was on screen, so okay. And then the final one. Jennifer Upward.
Ah,
Is Jennifer here today? I don't know. Anyway, Jennifer won. She did register. Now, I wish we had a prize for the furthest person away, because I got on the message on the chat room, I got a message from a young lady named Akshaya Upadhyay, who is attending from India.
wow.
So, and she was enjoying the presentation. So I'm very,
Isn't that like 1 a.m. there or something?
oh, I don't know. I mean, there's a way. But anyway,
Not
so
quite.
that now, let me think, I believe brings us to our closing comment, right, Barbara?
Well, we can acknowledge
Oh,
these.
wait, yes, indeed. Okay. So this one, of course, it goes without saying that no organization can function as individuals. It takes a team, and this is a special thank you to our outstanding committee members and their chairpersons. You can all see them on screen as I can. We'll have this again in our annual general report, but you can see how many people give of their time and their efforts to help us out with our organization. It's very heartwarming when we see these kinds of folks do this kind of thing, especially with students involved and the time they offer. So thank you very much to everyone on all of our committees. So that sort of brings us to the end of the 2022 AGM. For those of you who have been here for the first time, I hope you got something out of it. So I hope you recognize the amount of effort that goes in by everyone. I hope you recognize it's a team that does it. There's a lot of stuff that does go on behind the scenes. And those are the things that, again, in Barbara's terms, might not be the most romantic things, as opposed to social media, the webinars, the education, the things, the tools we can use. But those are the things that drive us here at the CSDH to fulfill objectives based on our vision and our mission. So what I'm going to ask is that those of you who have considered participating either in a committee or perhaps looking towards the executive positions, consider it heartily, consider it honestly, and feel free to reach out to any one of us anytime. If you go to the website, There's contact information for everyone that you see. And quite honestly, it's going to take all of us to achieve our objectives and to make things work for those people we've been asked to help out. So with that, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn. If someone would like to do that, we will adjourn tentatively. That was Sharon. Thank you. With a seconder, I believe I saw Shauna's hand go up. Adjourn tentatively to November 18th, 2023. In that regard, what I wanted to point out, of course, we'll stay open a little bit. Some of us can stay on. So if any of you want to communicate or ask questions, we'll be here for a little while, but the official meeting has come to an end.